So continuing on our journey to get ready for Terrifier 3, we will be reviewing now Terrifier 2, so let's get into it. So the way we will be reviewing this movie is exactly the same way we reviewed the last one, saying things I did like, things I didn't like. So with that being said, let's get into it. So the beginning of this movie starts exactly where we left off, the coroner's office from Terrifier 1, and Art the Clown has off-screen basically ripped out the coroner's throat, and now he's crawling and bleeding at the exact same time, and right off the bat we get to see the awesome cinematography. And at the very beginning, like, you could see cop cars passing by and Art the Clown walking through an alleyway like a badass, and that's just an example of the great cinematography in this movie. Way better than the first movie. But then we get to see, like I said, the coroner like crawling and bleeding out trying to call the cops, and Art the Clown writing art in his own blood on the mirror, and then going to finish off the coroner in a very, very brutal manner. Honestly, if I show the clip, I might get canceled or something. But all I need to do is explain it to you. He gets hit in the head with a hammer, and then freaking Art the Clown splits his head open. It's so gory and disgusting, bro. But yeah, then we hilariously get to see him at this dry cleaner where he cleans off his suit, and then he hallucinates a little girl Art the Clown, which important character in these next two movies. So that character I really thought was very unnecessary, very unlikable. I don't really find enjoyment in what she does because she really doesn't do anything besides copy Jonathan's voice in a phone call. So her character was just very unnecessary, I think. But anyway, moving on from that little negative, Art the Clown literally gets like completely naked and just sits on a chair reading a newspaper about the murders that happened in the first movie, and then we get to see the dry cleaner owner wake up and be like, what the hell am I seeing? Because Art the Clown is starting to play patty cake with the little girl Art the Clown, and to the human, all he's seeing is like Art the Clown high-fiving air, and that's just a little funny. And then he suits back up and walks out, revealing that he broke off the mop butt and jabbed it into the guy's head because he was responsible and cleaned up the blood off the floor like a responsible young man, but then he killed the owner, so that wasn't really that responsible. Now, this time around, I really want to talk about the story. The story is more well done this time around. Like, last time there was really no story, you didn't care about any characters, but the main character, Sienna, and her brother Jonathan, you could actually care about. Now, I know the character of Jonathan was a very criticized character, and hence what happened to him in Terrifier 3, as I've heard. I haven't seen the movie yet, but a review will be coming out later today on that movie, so just get ready for it. And yeah, the story is way better this time around. The characters are 10 times more likable. Well, at least Sienna and Jonathan. The mother is a huge pain in the ass. And Sienna's friends are terrible characters. Glad that Art the Clown actually killed them because they were just boring me in the entire movie. And they at one point got Sienna high, so they were just useless characters in their entirety. Even though the boyfriend did not deserve what happened to him. Bro was just trying to take a leak and Art the Clown cut it off. But anyway, yeah, but another thing about this movie, it is extremely gory. It is crazy gory. Way more than the first movie. And there's way more kills, especially like the bedroom scene where Art the Clown is after Sienna's friend, after this hilarious trick-or-treating scene where Art the Clown's trick-or-treating and then Sienna's friend gets to look in Art's bag and all weapons and tools. Of course, that was after the classic, awesome Halloween store scene where Art the Clown is terrifying the hell out of Sienna, and the owner of the shop is like, yo, leave her alone or leave. And when Sienna does leave, Art the Clown makes sure to follow her and lock the door, and then goes back and tries to buy something, but then he reaches in his Santa's sack of a freaking bag of tools and pulls out like a hatchet, chains, and a few cents, a few dollars. Honestly, if that guy was in my store, I'd just take whatever he'd give me. Like, okay, have a nice day. Either way, he'd kill you. But like, the way he took down this store owner is crazy. Like, he was like, oh, I'm gonna F you up, and then freaking Art the Clown pulled him over the damn register and be like, I'll show you what, and then freaking stabbed him in the eye. Very, very gruesome, crazy scene. And then uses his head as an animatronic after that gruesome scene is over. Then, of course, the bedroom scene where Art the Clown breaks in to Sienna's friend's house and destroys her body. Like, cuts off her limbs and puts salt in between those cuts. Oh my god. Bro. Damn, Art. Damn. And then eventually kills the mother too when she gets home. But like, the trick-or-treating scene before that was, she had it coming. You don't be rude to trick-or-treaters. They either egg your house or break in and then drink a glass of water and then go after you and then kill you. But yeah, that was a very crazy scene. And then also, I want to talk about another thing that actually I didn't really like about this movie. Like, the first one, we all wondered how Art was taking all this damage without dying. This time, they explain it. He's a demon from hell. And the only thing that could really kill him is this magical sword that Sienna's father's possessed. And Sienna eventually takes the sword and fights Art with it. That entire story plot, I was not digging. I didn't really enjoy that part of the movie. But like, in these 2 hours, they explored a lot of stuff. Like, Art the Clown could have gotten canceled after this movie. The way he is crazy in this movie. He could have got canceled. So if this was the end, then I think this would be just another one of those very, very terrible, low budget movies. Of course, the budget for Terrifier 2 was up and it had people throwing up in the theaters. So, but yeah, like the entire story element, I didn't think needed to go on for over 2 hours. But then we get to the ending with like Terrifier, Art the Clown, like I said earlier in the video, freaking cutting off this guy's thingy-majig, and then going after the girlfriend, and then cutting her up, and then pouring acid on her. Isn't that crazy? This is not science class, Art. Why do you have acid? And of course, he got it from the doctor earlier in the movie, but freaking scientist, man. Anyway, yeah, that was a brutal takedown, and then he smacks her to death with a wooden plank with a bunch of nails and spikes on it. And how funny is it that this all goes down in the maze that is named Terrifier, because the movie franchise is named Terrifier, and this like maze that this final battle goes on in is named Terrifier. That's hilarious. But anyway, the final battle I found enjoyment in, with like the entire kidnapping of Jonathan, after of course killing off the mother in a very brutal way, after like Art the Clown trashes her car, and then she starts cleaning, and then Art is in the seat and pulls out a freaking shotgun and blows her head. Like, that is some wild stuff right there. And then, yeah, back to the final battle. The entire, like, sword thing comes into handy with Art and decapitates him after a phenomenal final battle between our final girl, Sienna, and Art the Clown, with, of course, some assistance from Jonathan shooting the gun. Like, they were whipping Art the Clown's ass, bro. Like, damn. And then eventually it ends with Art the Clown. Like, you'd think he'd beg for mercy if his head was about to get cut off, but then he, like, tilts his neck so that way his neck is showing, so that way they could get a clean shot, and Sienna takes advantage of that and cuts his head off. Very, very crazy scene. Very crazy way to end the movie. Now, overall, of course, far from a perfect movie, there's still a lot of problems. Like, for example, the first one lacked story and lacked good characters. This time around, we actually have good characters, but it still lacks story, you know? It still lacks story. Obviously, this was also another setup for Terrifier 3, but yeah, they set up a lot of things, and I hope that they really explore all those things and, like, give us satisfying conclusions with those certain things and set up more in Terrifier 3 that could lead us to a Terrifier 4, because this is the year that Art mainstreamed and got into the big leagues. Remember it, like I said in my previous video with Terrifier 1. But yeah, this movie is like 7 out of 10. It's enjoyable, another dumb, fun horror movie. So that's my review. Also, like I said during the video, look out for the Terrifier 3 review. That will be coming out very, very shortly. But that's all I have to say in this video. Bye, guys.